All right, welcome in everybody to the deep dive. We're going to be tackling something pretty massive tonight, like literally massive.
Yeah, cosmically massive.
We're asking a question that I think a lot of people wonder about when they gaze up at the stars. With all that's out there and the vastness of space, is our solar system just a tiny dot?
It's a question that really gets to the heart of our perspective on our place in the universe, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, I think most of us probably learned the basics about our solar system back in school. The planets, the sun.
The asteroid belt, comets.
Right. But tonight we're going way beyond that. We really want to dive deep, no pun intended, and understand the true scale and context of our solar system.
Exactly. And we've got some great source material to guide us tonight.
Yeah, we've got information on the actual components of a solar system, what exactly that means.
Right.
We've got stuff on the different planets in our solar system, our cosmic neighbors, so to speak.
Absolutely.
We've also got some insights into those often overlooked parts of our solar system, the stuff that's not a planet.
The stuff that's often hiding in plain sight.
Exactly. And to really blow our minds, we'll be looking at some data on the incredible scale of our galaxy and the universe as a whole.
Because once you start to grasp those scales, it really puts things into perspective.
So our mission tonight is to understand where our solar system fits into all of this and really to grapple with the question, is it truly just a tiny dot in the grand scheme of things?
Let's find out.
Okay, so before we get ahead of ourselves, let's start with the fundamentals.
Sure.
What exactly are we talking about when we say solar system?
Well, at its core, a solar system is essentially a collection of celestial objects that are all bound together by gravity.
Okay, a cosmic family, kind of.
Exactly. And in the center of that family, you have a star. And everything else in the system is orbiting around that star.
And in our case, that star is, of course, the sun.
Right. Our very own sun. And it's important to remember that the sun's gravity is what's holding everything together. It's what keeps all those planets and moons and asteroids and comets from just flying off into space.
It's the glue that holds it all together.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got our star, we've got all these objects orbiting it. What makes our solar system unique?
Well, that's the thing. One of the most amazing insights that we've gained in recent years is that our solar system might not be so unique after all.
Oh, interesting. So we're not the only cosmic family out there.
Probably not. In fact, it's now believed that pretty much every star you see in the night sky likely has its own solar system.
Wow, really? That's a pretty big shift from, the old way of thinking where we thought maybe we were the only ones.
It is. For a long time, the prevailing view was that planetary systems might be incredibly rare occurrences.
Right.
But with advancements in technology, we've been able to actually detect planets orbiting other stars. These are called exoplanets. And it turns out they're incredibly common.
So we're not just looking up at stars, we're looking up at potentially billions of other solar systems.
Exactly. Each one a unique system with its own set of planets and who knows what else.
That's mind-blowing. Okay, so we've established that we're probably just one of many solar systems out there. Let's zoom back in on our own for a bit.
Right.
Now, we all know the names of the planets in our solar system. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and of course we can't forget Pluto, even though it's been reclassified.
Right.
But as one of our sources points out, just knowing the names doesn't really give us a true sense of the scale of things.
No, it really doesn't. It's easy to just rattle off those names, but to truly comprehend the sheer size of these planets and the immense distances between them, well, that's another thing altogether.
So how do we even begin to wrap our heads around that?
One of the sources uses a really helpful analogy. Imagine, if you will, that the sun is the size of a large beach ball.
Okay, I can picture that.
Now, on that scale, our Earth would be about the size of a pinhead, and it would be orbiting that beach ball sun at a distance of about 100 feet.
Wow, that's already pretty far.
It is. And then you have Jupiter, which is much bigger than Earth. But on this scale, it would only be about the size of let's say a walnut or a large grape.
Okay.
And it would be orbiting the sun at a distance of about 500 feet.
So 5 times further away than Earth.
Exactly. And then you have poor Pluto, which in this model would be so tiny and so far away that you'd probably need binoculars to even see it.
So even just within our own solar system, the distances are just mind-boggling.
They really are. And it's important to remember that what seems like empty space between these planets, it's not really empty.
Right. There's a lot going on in that space, isn't there?
Absolutely. And that brings us to another really important point. The planets themselves actually make up a relatively small fraction of the total matter in our solar system.
Oh, wow. So what else is out there?
Well, you've got asteroids, which are basically rocky remnants from the early solar system.
Right, and we've all heard of the asteroid belt.
Exactly. That's a region between Mars and Jupiter where there's a particularly high concentration of asteroids. But they're not all neatly contained in that belt.
Mm.
They can be found throughout the solar system.
Okay, so asteroids, what else?
You've got comets, which are these icy bodies that often have very long elliptical orbits around the sun.
Ah, right, the ones that leave those beautiful trails.
Exactly. And then there's a lot of dust and gas scattered throughout the solar system, remnants from the formation of the planets and other objects.
So it's not just empty space, it's like this cosmic soup with all these ingredients floating around.
That's a great way to put it. And then even further out, beyond the planets that we all know and love, you have these vast regions that we're only beginning to understand.
Okay, like what?
Well, first you have the Kuiper Belt,
Mhm.
which is a region beyond Neptune that's thought to contain millions of icy objects, including Pluto.
So Pluto has a lot of company out there.
It does. And then even further out than that, you have the Oort cloud.
The Oort cloud, what's that?
It's basically a gigantic spherical shell that surrounds our entire solar system. And it's thought to contain trillions of icy bodies.
Trillions.
Trillions. And these are believed to be the remnants of the very early solar system left over from the time when the planets were forming.
That's incredible. So our solar system is even bigger and more complex than we might initially think.
It definitely is. And what's really fascinating about these regions, the Kuiper Belt and the Oort cloud, is that they're so far away and so dimly lit that we've only been able to observe a tiny fraction of the objects that are out there.
So we're really just starting to scratch the surface of what's out there, even in our own solar system.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've gotten a pretty good sense of the scale of our solar system, but let's zoom back out now and think about the bigger picture. We're
Right.
back to that initial question. Is our solar system really just a tiny dot in the grand scheme of things?
Well, when you start to consider the scale of our galaxy, the Milky Way, the answer becomes pretty clear.
Yeah, I mean, we're just one solar system, right?
One among hundreds of billions. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, is estimated to contain over 100 billion stars.
Wow.
And many, if not most, of those stars likely have their own planetary systems, just like ours.
Okay, so we're one of 100 billion. That's already hard to wrap my head around.
Right. And then you have to remember that our galaxy, the Milky Way, is just one of billions, maybe even trillions of galaxies in the observable universe,
So our galaxy is a dot.
amongst billions of other dots.
Yeah. One of our sources gives this analogy of a single grain of sand on a beach that stretches across an entire continent. That grain of sand, that's us. That's our entire solar system compared to the observable universe.
It's a scale that's almost impossible to comprehend.
It really is. It's humbling, isn't it?
Incredibly humbling. But there's also a strange beauty in that vastness, I think. To think that something so small, so seemingly insignificant, can still be a place of wonder and complexity.
Absolutely. And it's amazing to think that here we are on this tiny little planet, in this tiny little solar system, in this vast, vast universe, and we're actually trying to understand it all.
It's a testament to human curiosity, isn't it? That despite our smallness, we have this innate desire to explore, to learn, to push the boundaries of our knowledge.
So, given this incredible scale, this cosmic perspective, why does any of this matter to us in our daily lives?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
It's easy to feel insignificant, overwhelmed even, when faced with the immensity of the universe. But I think there's a real power in this perspective.
How so?
Well, for one thing, it can help us to reevaluate our priorities.
I-
When you consider the vastness of space and time, the things that we often stress about, the conflicts we get caught up in, they can seem incredibly small and trivial.
Right.
It's like arguing over a grain of sand on a beach that stretches for thousands of miles.
So it gives us a sense of perspective.
Exactly. And it can also inspire us to focus on the things that truly matter: our connections to each other, our shared humanity, our responsibility to care for our planet, the only home we know.
It's a reminder that we're all in this together, on this tiny blue dot hurtling through space.
Exactly. And this cosmic perspective has also fueled some incredible scientific advancements. I mean, just think about the Voyager spacecraft, which are now exploring interstellar space, or the Hubble and James Webb Space Telescopes, which are allowing us to see further and deeper into the universe than ever before.
Right. It's like we're constantly reaching out, trying to understand our place in the cosmos.
And in doing so, we're making amazing discoveries, not just about the universe, but about ourselves as well.
It's that drive to explore, to discover, that really sets us apart, doesn't it?
It does. And it's important to remember that we're not just observers of the universe, we're a part of it.
Right. We're made of the same stuff as the stars.
Exactly. Every atom in our bodies was forged in the heart of a star billions of years ago.
So when we ask, is our solar system special? It seems like the answer is both yes and no.
It is. In the grand scheme of things, our solar system is just one of countless others. But it's also our home, the only place we know of where life exists, at least for now.
So it might be a tiny dot,
But it's our dot.
and that's a pretty amazing thing to think about. And it leaves us with a question to ponder as we go about our lives. What does it mean that something so small can be the entirety of our known reality and the starting point for our understanding of everything else?
It's something worth reflecting on for sure.
Absolutely. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.